Anderson was keeping to himself, but I was looking around.
You were not on the prowl, Anderson?
I can testify that Andy was definitely searching and would occasionally try to make eye contact with me about somebody we passed by. And I would sort of glare at Andy. I was like, we're with the kids.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, why should this be fun for us?
Somebody gonna cue me or do I cue myself?
Cue yourself.
Okay.
Well. Oh my gosh. Things are about to get wild here, Jan, Albert. Can you believe this?
It's happening.
Let's Talk Off Camera is live. Yes, live. We are here on Sirius XM on the one and only Radio Andy channel. Who else would have us? Honestly,
Nobody.
Frankly, who else would have us? And plot twist to anyone listening right now, yes, I mean you, listener, you can join our show. That's right. We want you to call in. We want your burning questions, your scandalous stories, your most outrageous hot takes, but only if you're normal. So stop what you're doing, put the laundry down. If you're driving, be safe. And, we've got a lineup today. I'm not going to brag. It can only go downhill from here. We're going to kick things off with the man who owns this channel. That's right. Andy Cohen will be joining us. Andy, I must know somebody because not only do we have Andy joining us, but I'm told, Jan, is this true? Confirm or deny?
It is true.
Anderson Cooper will also be joining us.
Big.
This is big because I don't know if you know this. I'm sure everybody who listens to Radio Andy all day knows these stories, but Anderson and Andy took their children to Disney World for spring break. Now, I have done this myself. Not their children, but I have taken my own children to spring break. Okay? So I know that there are two sides to this story. I've heard Andy's side to this story. I want to hear Anderson's side to the stories I've been told. Our phone lines are open, and we want to hear about your wildest. Now, try to stay on topic, everyone. I know, a bunch of guys are going to call in and try to date Anderson and Andy, but try to stay on topic, okay? We want your wildest spring break stories and spring break disasters and all things spring break, because it's still technically spring break, is it not?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so call us. That's 844-305-2639. That's 844-305-2639. Or Andy. I love that his name becomes a number. Isn't that cool?
It's pretty amazing.
It's kind of amazing. Jan, do you have any wild spring break stories? Because I know you were a wild woman.
Well, I have to say, spring breaks for a really long time have been a relocation, not a vacation, as we all know if we're parents.
Right.
And I had one where we were in Puerto Rico, and I was trying to get Luke to go in the ocean. It was one of those times where he was just being anxious about it. Mm-hmm. And I begged, him and my nephew, got them into the ocean. The water was a little rough, a little too rough.
Yep.
And they start floating out, and the waves keep crashing down.
And they're getting washing machined.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, come in. They can't come in. This guy jumps up on the beach, and he's like, do they need help? And I'm like, I think they need help. And he goes running in to the ocean, saves them. The whole beach stands up and clapping for him.
Wow.
Do you know why he did that? Because you're hot. Because you're a total smoke show.
Really,
Jan?
I almost killed my kid because I wanted him to go in the ocean.
Listeners at home, Jan is a smoke show, and men will do things for her that they wouldn't do for, I could be like, oh my gosh, help me, help my children. But Jan, just, you inspire that in people.
Well, I thank that man. I don't know who he is, but I thank him.
Albert?
Yes. I was thinking about this on the ride here.
I want to know.
I forgot about this until Jan pre-asked me in the car. I one time went to Paradise Island in the Bahamas.
Okay.
And I was with a bunch of friends, and we were all by the pool, pretty shit-faced. And I decided, let's get a conga line going of everybody by the pool and take them into the lobby of the hotel, which we did. We got everyone by the pool to stand up, go into the lobby. And then I'm like, a good idea would be to go in the elevator with all of these people.
Well, let me tell you something. That's because Albert will do anything, and I mean anything, to avoid water. And that means if he's in Paradise Island in the Bahamas, surrounded by water at an aquatic theme park, he's going to do a conga line through the lobby because there's no water there and nothing can scare him there.
Well, we got into multiple elevators, and then a lot of people got lost in the building and couldn't find their way back down.
I'm trying to think of my like wildest or worst spring break story, and I think it always happens on the last day. And again, I'm like you, Jan. We don't take vacations with our children. We like to call them trips. We take a trip. So we were on a trip with the kids, and for us, disaster, like we will have the most majestic week off of work and everything is perfect. And on the last day is when the thing happens. Either scurvy sets in, or chicken pox happen, or Joaquin steps on a sea urchin and has to be rushed to the emergency room, or the Portuguese man of war, where all of my kids and all the other kids on the beach ran over to pee. It's always Joaquin too. Ran over to pee on him.
Right.
And I was like, everybody put your urine away. Stop urinating on my kid.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's like, some teenager from 4 umbrellas over is peeing on my 7-year-old.
Our guest, Andy Cohen.
Is
here. We can.
Should we take our first caller?
Should we take our first
Hello,
caller?
Andy Cohen. Oh, hi.
Hi, how's the radio show going, Cal?
You know what's so funny, Andy? We were talking about this. As you know, we do live TV every day. You've done it with me. It's like a piece of cake. And for some reason, being live on the radio totally freaked all of us out.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know
Well,
why.
I can't imagine why. Where are you broadcasting from, Kelly?
This is Michael's former bedroom. You've been in here when you did the podcast.
Oh, this is your studio. This is your broadcast
this is my
studio.
Yes.
Wow.
Where
Well,
are
how
you
hilarious.
broadcasting from?
I'm in my dressing room at Watch What Happens Live, my hit late night talk show, where you are broadcast your television show from across the street.
Yes.
I know. I can't believe we haven't met up yet.
I can't either. I'm very excited. Are you enjoying your new studio at all?
It's very luxurious. It's enormous. I finally, for the first time, peed all by myself without having to be guided there by like 15 different, because like there's like a security guard handoff. So like everybody has an area.
Yes.
And so the first couple of weeks, it was very disorienting because it's a very large space. I mean, I work with people every day and I haven't seen them since we moved. And I know they're still working there. I just haven't seen them. But it's luxurious. It's too good for us.
Right. Well, I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah,
and
see it.
At some point we're going to both be in the same place at the same time.
Before we jump into spring break, because we're talking about spring break on this here podcast.
Yes.
I'm talking about it because we have you and we're going to have Anderson. And I know your side of events I know how you think the trip went to Disney World. And I kind of want to get Anderson's.
Anderson, by the way, is on hold in the Zoom, so you guys need to let him into the Zoom. He's waiting.
Before we let him in, I just want to cover some Housewives housekeeping.
Okay, yes.
Okay,
yes.
Give me an update on Kenya Moore. What is her status?
There is no update, although I am. You will have one soon.
I will have one soon.
Yes.
Breaking on my podcast, or are you going to break it on your own podcast?
No, I mean, it'll just happen.
It'll just happen. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was obsessed with the PK Dorit split. And then Dorit said this wild thing during the reunion that I think any person that grew up in New York City or more like on Earth outside of Beverly Hills did not know what this meant when she said, "You don't exactly live like the Queen of Sheba. You live on a main road." And I was I turned to Mark and I said, what who doesn't live on a main road? What does that mean? What does a main road mean, Andy? Can you break that down in Beverly Hills speak for me?
Well, the hilarity to me was that Sutton lives in Bel Air, California,
Right, it's
which
fancy, right?
is,
Fancy.
yes, it's an incredibly, it's where the Reagans lived.
Right.
It's where Carol Bayer Sager and Bob Daly live. I mean, I'm just telling you, like, it's very fancy. So for Dorit, who I believe lives in the Valley or Encino, which is a beautiful place as well. But for her to be saying you live on a main road, I mean, it's a little, you have to establish where the road is. I died when she kept saying you live on a main road. I was like, oh, this is the petty bullshit that I absolutely live for.
But as somebody who proudly lives on a main road, do I not want to live on a main road anymore? Should I try to get off the road? Or?
Exactly. I mean, sometimes it's like when the main road is Fifth Avenue or Madison Avenue or, whatever it is, I think that we can all feel okay about the roads that we live on.
Now, did we ever get confirmation? Is PK dating Ryan Seacrest's ex-girlfriend?
Well, they are certainly making out. Have you intersected with that young lady of Ryan's? Did Ryan bring his little prey to you at any time during?
No, I never met this young lady.
No,
but I am.
There were other young fawns who came into your.
I'm going to have to
universe.
reach out to Seacrest. I'm just going to do a little light. I'm going to just pick around, sniff around a little.
By the way, to go from Ryan Seacrest to PK, that's you don't hear from girls. Oh, what type are you? What type man do you like to date? Oh, like a Seacrest or a PK.
You know me. I run the gamut, anywhere from Seacrest to PK.
Yes.
Well, times are tough.
Yes.
Will Garcelle come back?
I don't know. The door's open. I know that she wants to be with her son for his senior year of high school. And I thought that was a great decision on her part. I think she was also just over the fuckery of the other women. And I think that Sutton not really kind of being there for her at that reunion in her eyes probably, I see that it stung for her. And it seemed like, I know that she was not being too responsive to Sutton after that reunion. So I think that stung deeper than maybe the others realized.
Yes, I could see it on her face.
Yeah.
I wanted to be there and just say, can you all just acknowledge Garcelle for 5 seconds?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we should remind people to call in, tell us their spring break stories. It's 844-305-2639. That's Andy, A-N-D-Y. Andy, how about you with your own phone number?
Isn't that nice?
Isn't that nice? You know who doesn't have his own phone number? Anderson. We should let him in.
Yeah.
Should we let him in? We've been making him sit around for a while.
Yeah, let's let him in. He's going crazy.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Anderson.
Hi.
Wow.
Oh, Anderson.
Well, guys, this is what it's come to. We only see each other on a computer screen now.
Yes. As long as we're monetizing it, everything's fine.
Anderson, I heard all about the trip to Disney World through Andy's eyes. And I just want to see if Anderson's eyes matched Andy's eyes. What was Disney World with 4 young children like for the two of you?
I mean, I thought it was amazing. I hadn't been since, I was a little kid. In fact, right before I left, I found all these photographs of me as a 6-year-old going. And I still have the Winnie the Pooh that I got at Disney when I was 6. That's been in Wyatt's room since he was born. It was amazing. It was like, I gotta say, people talk about the Magic Kingdom, and I don't want to sound like I'm plugging for them, but there is this magic to it. We went to other parks, I will say. We went to one, I think, for another day, and it just doesn't have the magic. I was literally like, I want to get out of here. I want to go back to Disney.
Yeah, Disney's special. It
There
is
was something.
it's special.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to diss the other park that we went to, but yeah, it just felt much more commercial, and the kids, it was just amazing. And also you discover things about your kids that, you know, I didn't know my kids would love roller coasters.
How
I'm
about
sort
that?
of I know. And both of them were completely into it. Wyatt, especially, well, Sebastian's too little for some of the rides, unfortunately, which he was very upset about. But although, in retrospect, for him, like the thing he still talks about is riding this motorcycle. And literally, this is Sebastian, the 3 year old, he literally just sat on a motorcycle in like an arcade while we were on, I think, Space Mountain twice. And uh, we didn't even turn on the motorcycle. It was just
Just sitting there.
him. Yeah, I have a photo of him on it, and he's wearing like a Lion King headdress, which he picked up somewhere. But yeah, so that for him was like the greatest thing ever. The
You
the
realize
motorcycle,
he had a whole fantasy going on in his mind.
completely,
That
completely.
motorcycle didn't need to move. He was
Yeah,
moving it and
he
he
was
was
moving
going
it. Yes.
places.
Yeah,
A-
it was incredible. It was
Andy,
and to suddenly see your kids and be able to, you know, share it with them, it was just awesome.
Andy and Anderson, I think that now that you have entered this phase, because I have to say, from my humble perspective, watching the two of you, you're such excellent parents. You are both excellent parents. I feel like you two need to go back on the road and do AC squared. AC squared, the dad edition, like a
Uh-huh.
parenting, sort of like a parenting manual,
Yes.
and leave the kids while you're on tour with Meemaw.
Ah, well, I'm
Meemaw will
working
take
on
care
him.
of them.
The answer is I am working on Anderson. I've had the same thought and I've been trying to get him out on the road. And so I am trying is the answer.
I want to like bring like I don't want to be away from the kids for a weekend, you know? I mean, I
No.
feel like I'm on the road enough, and but yeah, I would like to get back out. Andy and I will probably get back out there
You guys
a
could be
little
like
bit.
the Shunny and Cher show, and at the end, just bring the kids out on the stage.
The Shunny and Cher
I
show.
The
know, I
Sunny
know.
and Cher show.
I like the
The Sunny
Shunny and
and
Share
Cher
show.
show.
I like the Shunny and
You know
Cher.
what? It's not fair to make fun of people with excessively large teeth. It's very
Are
cruel.
those your teeth, Kelly?
Yes, these are unfortunately my teeth.
You know
I
what?
would sadly
Since
not
I've
pay
run
to put
out
these
of
teeth.
since I have
But
run out of nasty questions to ask people, my
Yeah.
latest are your nipples
oh my
hardwired for
God. Oh my
pleasure? And
Jesus.
are
Wow.
those your teeth?
Oh my
This is what
God.
I'm
Yes, these are
asking
my
I
these
mean,
days.
by the way,
my
who do
teeth.
you ask that to? I mean,
I
Everyone.
asked I think I asked someone from White Lotus about his nipples recently.
Speaking of
I
nipples, were there any
oh
cute
my
nipples
God.
that you guys were spying in Disney, the
Oh my
happiest place
God.
on
there
earth?
were
Oh
some
my God.
hot dads at
Hot
Disney that
dads,
I
yes.
was clocking some hot dads. Anderson was keeping to himself, but I
You were
was
not.
looking
You were
around.
not
I was
proud. You were not
searching the
on the prowl,
perimeter.
Anderson.
I can testify that Andy was definitely searching and would occasionally try to make eye contact with me about somebody we passed by. And I would sort of glare at Andy where I was like, we're with the
Yeah.
kids.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, why should this be fun for us?
No,
You know,
I was
isn't there an Instagram account called Hot Dads of Disney? I'm pretty sure there's an Instagram account
There is.
devoted.
There's a John Hill has gotten me into. There's a Disney. There's an account of like of big gals of Disney that I'm on board with. One of the big gals of Disney has called into Andy Cohen live.
Oh,
We're on the
really?
same. Yes, yes, we
Oh
love
my
her.
gosh.
Yes, we love her.
So were
I
you guys able to relax? You're both very recognizable people.
well, that's what was
yes.
interesting to me is I kind of wondered about that, and I thought, well, what that's going to be like, and you know, if Andy and I go out someplace together, usually it's like, you know, Andy causes a commotion. So, but the great thing about Disney is everyone is so focused, on just the magic of the place and enjoying it, and focused on their own kids. No one was like, I mean, a couple of people came up and said hi, and it was really lovely and nice, and but It wasn't a big deal at all. I was very relieved. Andy,
We
were you
were
surprised?
unbothered, and I
Yeah.
was so happy, especially since I would say 5 minutes after stepping foot into the Magic Kingdom, I got my scolded by Anderson to put my hat on. He was like, "Put your hat on," because he was so terrified that someone was going to clock me, but no one did, and I did put my hat on.
Maybe he didn't want you to get a sunburn. Maybe he was just being a concerned
That was
friend.
not the issue.
That wasn't the issue.
Not the issue. No.
You
And I
should,
was
if
like,
you really didn't want to get recognized, you should have just put on like Darth Vader masks or something.
Well,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah.
well, by
See your
the way,
face.
meeting
Well, we
Darth
met
Vader
Darth
was-
Vader, or
that-
why it calls him Dark Vader because
Darth Vader?
he's never seen Star Wars, so he doesn't know who he is. But yeah, that was a little scary for them.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was very scary.
Darth Vader
Lucy
is
is still
terrifying.
scared about Darth Vader.
Did
Yeah.
Lucy bury the hatchet with Daisy Duck?
Yes, she did. They had a huge hug. And speaking of the magic of Disney, I mean, I told this on the radio, but it was before we got to meet Mickey Mouse and a bunch of the characters, and before we went up there, it was clear that's what we were doing. And Ben, who tries to be a big shot sometimes, was like, "I don't want to meet Mickey Mouse. I'm not doing this." And I was like, "All you have to do is be nice. Just stand in the corner. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to meet Mickey. Just shut it." And so we go up, and Ben Cohen is just running, arms outstretched to Mickey, and gives him the biggest torpedo of a hug. And I'm like, you know what? See that? Even the big shots aren't immune to the magic of Mickey Mouse in this place. It was so sweet. It just completely restored my faith in humanity and magic and love and everything. It was really
It was
great.
the same way at the Muppet movie we went to.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like, he
Ben
didn't-
was
he
like,
did-
"I don't want to do this. This is dumb." And then he was like, "Ah."
If Hulu was smart, Hulu's owned by Disney. If Hulu was smart, you know how they have like those what's he was just on our show, Stanley Tucci.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they should have done
Yeah.
Anderson and
Documentary of them.
Andy searching. Yes.
I would have Anderson and Andy, AC squared, searching for
Disney.
Mickey. Yeah,
Yes,
and you just
absolutely.
like go through the theme parks and you tell us
Absolutely.
things. There's like two
Absolutely.
dads out on the loose, and you just like
Yes.
take us through. Like Anderson can have Epcot because like that's like the heady one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He can tell us about. He can tell us about the fjords in in whatever that country.
We
was,
did it. We did a
fjords.
quick like a smash and grab, a quick Epcot and Epcot. Which was the ride in Epcot that we really liked, Andy?
We loved Frozen.
Mm.
We loved there was this
Did you do
there was this
Spaceship Earth?
ride. No, there was this ride called Soren,
Oh,
which I thought
Soren.
was
God, the
about
best.
Oh, I thought it was about a evil villain named Soren who was coming to get us.
No.
It's about Soren through
Over
the
California.
air, all around
Yes,
the world.
right.
Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
cute. And they have margaritas at Epcot, which I
I gotta say,
enjoyed.
Animal Kingdom was for me a huge hit. Like, and the
We
kids
loved it.
Loved it. It was like
Yeah.
a safari in 30 minutes.
The next time
Yes,
you go
Anderson,
there,
it was.
next time you,
It was a revelation to me.
next time you
Yes.
go there, Andy Anderson, you guys should stay at that hotel because
Oh.
you wake up and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
giraffes
I
No, I-
outside.
I
put
was
the kibosh on that.
vetoed. Yes,
Yeah, I
I
put the
was
kibosh on that.
vetoed. I sent
fun.
him. Yes,
I looked at a
the
I looked at a floor
Vanderbilt
plan.
boy. The Vanderbilt
at a
boy
floor-
was not. I was not, and I was
I tell
so
you.
glad when he rejected it. I was like, "Oh my god!" Because you know that if he had said yes and it was my idea, you know how that would have gone for me.
No,
I was so grateful.
I love the idea of it. And I love the idea of the kids seeing the animals. But then I checked the floor plan, and it just seemed very like being still in Disney. And I wanted like a little break.
He
I
wanted
think.
a little separation.
Yeah.
I will say this, and I said this on Radio Andy. The dads on Grindr
Oh my
were
gosh!
absolutely
Wow.
you cannot believe
Wow.
because after a hard day at the theme park, People are looking for
my
There were a lot of
God.
dads on Grindr.
Yes.
Oh, I
Wow.
love that. That's
yes.
exactly
I
how
mean,
I was.
Yes.
I don't want to hear about this. I don't want to think about
Yes.
Disney. Don't make me
I
think
will
about
tell you
this.
all about it. But listen, on that note, I have to go
I know you
record
have
an
to
episode
go.
of my hit talk show.
Okay, have fun on your number one evening talk show.
Yes.
Thank you for
I love
calling
you, Kelly.
in.
Welcome to
Love
Radio
you.
Andy Live. I love
Thank
you live on
you.
Radio Andy.
Bye, honey.
Anderson, we'll speak
Andy.
soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, sweetie. Anderson, are you going to stick around?
But sure, I will stick around.
You're listening to Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa.
Disclaimer, only Kelly Ripa can ask me these questions.
Now let's get back to talking like nobody's watching.
Anderson, is this your first time hearing my podcast?
Well, the radio. This is the first time the radio.
Yes.
Radio thing. Yeah, I've been on your podcast before.
Yeah.
I know
I was a
you've been
guest
on
on.
it, but you were just the look on your face when you heard the promo for it was kind of spellbound.
No, I was. I was like, "Who's that person? Who's that ghost?" Well, I don't know who that person was.
That was Salma Hayek.
Oh, was it really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was Selma.
All right, darling Selma. I should have
We've got
known.
a caller, guys.
Oh, we
have-
do?
Yeah, we
I
have
actually
Sandra
met-
from Charlotte. Oh, you
Sen-
want to-
wait, what were you going to say before?
No,
we got
I
Sandra
actually
from
I went to her house once.
Oh yes, tell the story of going to Salma
and met
Hayek's house.
Prince there. It was like, yeah,
Yes.
it was crazy. And I went with some friends, and they were going, and they were like, "Oh, come!" And I was like, "Okay, sure." They didn't say it was like to Selma Hayek's house, and we get there, I'm like, "Oh my God, that's Selma Hayek," and she was lovely and so nice, and there were a bunch of people came, and there was a long table, and it was outside in LA somewhere at her house, and I was in like they were in the center of the table. I was in like Siberia, the end of the table with like some distant relatives
Right.
of theirs, and which was cool. It was great. I was having a great time. And Prince was sitting like across from Selma Hayek. And I would occasionally look and see Prince whispering to somebody next to him. I can't remember who it was. And suddenly Prince gets up, like toward the end of the meal, comes over, tells the person sitting across the table from me, asks them to get up and move. And they do, because he's Prince. And he sits down and he suddenly turns to me and he goes, I moved to be in LA to be around people who are in it, and you're in it. And
Yeah.
I was so nervous that Prince was even talking to me that I just started talking fast, which is I didn't know what else to do. And I was like, of course I'm in it. Yeah, totally. I know what you mean. And I, of course, had no idea what he meant. And I still don't. And then he said to me, I'm Jehovah's Witness, you know. And I was like, of course I know you're Jehovah's Witness. And I just watched a documentary about Jehovah's Witnesses.
Of course you
So
did.
out of my mouth started pouring all this information that I had learned, because I didn't know what else to talk to Prince about. So I was like, did you know that Jehovah's Witnesses are responsible for all the innovations in bloodless surgery? and did you know that Jehovah's Witnesses were prisoners of conscience during the Holocaust in concentration camps, that they could have gotten out of the concentration camps if they renounced their faith, but they chose not to. So they stayed and often were slaughtered in concentration camps. And he was just sitting there nodding his head going, yes, yes. And I don't know. And then I'm like, why am I talking about bloodless surgery to Prince at Salma Hayek's house? It seems so crazy. I should just shut up. And I finally just stopped. And then Prince was like, I throw up some parties in LA where I play, and you should come. I was like, I would totally come to your parties, Prince. So then he's like, I'm going to get up and plan one now. And he gets up and he leaves the whole thing to plan one of these parties, I guess. And then for a couple of months, I would get calls from somebody in Prince's
Inner
orbit
circle. Yeah.
on like a Friday morning saying, Prince is having a party at his house tonight in LA, and he'd like you to come. And I was like, I don't have a plane, and I have a job, and I can't just come to LA. Like, and so I
Anderson.
never got to go.
I would have
until-
dragged you there.
I know. Until months later, I got a call that Prince was playing. He was like, somebody said, Prince is playing in a room in the Gansevoort Hotel on the top floor and would like you to come. And I was like, of course, I would totally be there. And I went, it was incredible. He played to like, I don't know, there were like 25 people or something in this room in the Gainsbourg Hotel. And he played, I don't know, he went on at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and it was a weeknight. And he was just playing. He kept playing. He kept saying, I got too many hits. And he kept playing and playing and playing. And he threw a pick into the audience and I caught it. And so I still have the Prince pick. Anyway, halfway through the concert, this person comes up to me and said, who works for Prince, and says, this was in 2008, by the way, said, Prince would like you to stay after the concert to talk about the financial crisis. And
my God, so much fun with Prince.
and I was like, I don't know anything about finances, and I can't really have a conversation about the financial crisis because I don't really understand the financial crisis. And I was like, I can't embarrass myself in front of Prince any more than I already have. So I was like, I have to get out of this. And I have to lie. And I said I didn't know how to lie to the Prince's person in a way that would be acceptable. And I was like, I got to lie big. And the only thing I could think of was I said to her, I'm so sorry. I would love to, I would love to sit with Prince at 6 a.m. when this concert finishes and talk about the financial crisis. But I have to get on a plane to interview President Obama. It was the only thing I could think about.
Okay, that's a good one.
The only thing I could think that would be big enough. I didn't actually have to interview the president that day, but I lied, and she and she gave me like a namaste, and she was like, "Of course, Prince will understand," and that was it. I never got to see Prince again.
But I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow. Talking about and I'm like, which financial crisis? 2008, I guess.
2008 was a big one. Yeah, it was a big one.
That was a big one. Right. Okay. We have
our first call.
Our first
caller. We're going to take Leslie on line 4.
Leslie on line 4. Leslie, hello. You're on with Anderson and Kelly. Hi.
Hi, Anderson. Hi, Kelly. How are you guys?
Hey. Very well.
How are you, Leslie?
I'm so good. I'm just happy to be here.
Well, you sound great.
Is that what?
I love your voice.
Wait, is this my daughter? Is this actually my daughter?
Yes. She called it with a fake name.
Wait, are you joking? Aren't you on an airplane right now?
I've landed. I'm in the cab.
Lola, you're getting really good at that British accent, but you sound
that's
shady.
Really good, Lola.
Do you guys like my voice?
I thought you sounded like a woman of a certain age, very elegant, sitting in a beautiful apartment somewhere. And I was like, what is this woman calling it? I imagine
you sounded like you were in your 60s.
Yeah, I imagined a sort of 60s, but elegant. And then I was like, what is this elegant lady doing calling in the middle of the afternoon?
It immediately sounded shady to me. I was like, there's something off. Lola, what's your question for Anderson?
Okay, well, I actually didn't even realize this makes it even so much better because I didn't realize it was both of you together. I just saw a link to say call, so I was going to prank call you and ask like which child you were vibing with the most, but Anderson.
Yes, Anderson is the child I vibe with the most.
Okay, let me see. A question to Anderson. Let's see.
Question to Anderson. He just took his children to Disney World.
I know, to Disney World. I was going to say, what was the boys' favorite ride? Both of them.
Magic Mountain for Wyatt. We went on it twice, and which surprised me because it was terrifying. It was all in darkness. And
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. I'm sorry. Yeah. What was Magic Mountain? Magic Mountain is a novel by isn't it? He loved that novel. He's only 5. I mentioned this before because clearly, Lola, you weren't listening to the start of the program.
Clearly.
He liked this motorcycle that he just got to sit on, but he liked any kind of little. There was a Toy Story a roller coaster where you're in in the dog
one,
and he loved that. That we did that twice as well.
Lola, you loved that one when you were a kid too, right?
Toy Story loved It's a Small World.
A Small World classic.
Yeah. Lola, do you have a vacation story? Do you have a vacation story that you can talk about? Anything you want to regale Anderson with?
Do I have a vacation story that I can
What was the worst vacation you guys took as a family?
No. Oh, well, okay. Well, I have a vacation. We've had amazing vacations, but I have a vacation story that includes our co-producer Albert Bianchini's partner of 85 years.
Oh,
Can I
no.
tell the story?
Kyle,
Oh,
yes.
85 years.
85 years, his beloved of 85
God,
years.
Anderson, brace yourself.
I guess I was in my, and it's just going to be a bit straighter and then a right, sir. Thank you. I
She's not talking about Kyle.
I
I guess I was in my era of like very annoying, very,
You were a teenager. You were like 14,
teenager.
15?
Was?
And I guess I made a comment about Kyle's hairline in the airport. Right here is great, thank you. And he pantsed me in the JFK airport
In the Delta
in
check-in,
front of
yes.
everyone.
Do you know what pantsing is, Anderson?
I know. I thought you said pensed you. I was trying to figure out, is this a British term?
No, he pantsed her,
pulled
which
down my
means
pants.
he pulled down her pants in the middle of the airport. He pulled her pants
This
all
was
the
in
way
his
down.
defense. This was after a series of really annoing things.
Yes.
That Lola
Yeah,
was
no,
doing.
I fully deserve it.
Technically, that's probably illegal. Date you
No,
were
I
in.
think it is illegal.
It is
It's
illegal.
definitely
Yeah.
illegal. And Lola, you can sue Kyle now if
You
you,
can.
want.
Yeah,
now that he's
totally. Yes. In
now
fact,
that
I
he's
don't know.
wealthy.
I don't think there's a statute of limitations on that one. You can hold that over his receding hairline for as long as you want.
Well, Lola, thank you for calling. Now, I'm assuming you're home now, right?
Thank you. Oh, sorry, sir. This guy. My
Cal, let's take a different
not-
caller.
Take another
Let's
call.
take a different caller.
Goodbye, Lola. We're going to take another caller now. Love you. Bye. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, Sandra from Charlotte has a vacation story for you.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Sandra from Charlotte. Hi, Sandra. It's Kelly and Anderson.
Hey.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Anderson. How are you guys doing this afternoon?
We're great,
Great.
Sandra. Before we begin, you're not related to me in any way, are you?
I am not related to you, no.
Okay.
But my son does went to, or should say, my son goes to Michigan. So go.
Oh my gosh,
wow.
go blue, go
Graduation.
blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were there?
I wasn't there at the graduation. I was moving out my son because unfortunately he got mono.
God.
Yes,
Wow,
yes.
wow.
Anyways, there's no floor plan for teenagers or for young
No.
adults, Anderson, just so you know.
Oh, he knows. He knows. He's watched mine grow up. What's your vacation story?
So we did a graduation trip last summer, and my son and another friend went, and they ended up meeting up with another friend in London while we were all together. We went out to a nice dinner, and they were so excited that they could drink. And so they had big plans to go to a bar, but I guess they ended up going to a casino. And luckily, in fortune, they actually won £3,000
Wow.
gambling, but they didn't know what to do. So they were so mindless because they're 18, 19-year-olds, and they're like, what do? We don't know how to get the money out. So it was just one of those moments that you're like, okay, and you're having to deal with currency and, young adults. We just told them, get in an Uber and get to the hotel. So
Wow.
that was kind of like the unplanned kind of like little vacation thing for us.
That's a great vacation story. That's amazing. That's not typically how that goes.
I know. Not what I expected either. Yeah. Could have been way worse. I don't get it. I don't know if you had this experience in London, but I think people always think like British people are very like prim and proper and everything's very elegant and stuff. If you go out in London and you're there at I don't know what time if it's still 11 o'clock, but it used to be pubs closed at 11. And if you're on the streets of London like on a weekend night at 11 o'clock, it is disgusting. Like all your illusions about. You were probably safely in your hotel. It was your kids who were at the casino, but like all the illusions about, very, people drinking tea and having erudite conversations. There's people like just vomiting in the streets openly and then like going to the next bar. I mean, it's It's rough.
London were you in? I mean, where were you?
No, I feel this is like every part of London, like pub culture in London, like on every corner at 5 o'clock, it starts right after work. They're packed.
Anderson,
I don't get it.
you turn every story into Oliver. Every story is Oliver Twist.
As a non-drinker, I'm also very judgy. Like I'm just
right.
like what? I don't understand drinking in general, but I don't understand like drinking till you throw up and then going back into the pub and drinking
and doing
some
it
more.
all again.
Yeah.
Sandra, thanks for calling in.
Absolutely, and congratulations on your show.
Oh, thanks. Guess what? You're our first official, because I'm not counting Lola. You're our first official caller.
Yes.
On
very exciting.
Live. Let's talk off camera.
Kelly's opening up the phone lines and taking your calls.
You know, I'm telling you this just because I adore you, and this is like off camera.
This is Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa.
That was Isaac Mizrahi. I watched his face.
That I recognize that voice, actually. Do you remember that documentary Unzipped that he did like a million years ago? I loved that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Did you?
Fussy finished. The line
did
Polly
you read
Nellen
his,
said in the back of a cartoon. Sorry, go ahead.
Did you read his book, I Am, a memoir?
I did not, no.
Oh, it's excellent, Anderson.
Really?
You would adore it. Yes. I'll send you my copy if you want to read it.
Okay.
And also,
he's a great singer.
He's an amazing singer.
Really?
I've seen him at the Carlisle.
There's a great song in that documentary, Unzipped, by Sandra Bernhardt, which he used in a fashion show, which was like, she took Sylvester's You Make Me Feel Mighty Real and she did her own twist on it, and it's great. I reckon.
Yeah, I've got to go back and rewatch that. Who's on? We've
got another caller.
Okay, Jan.
A New Yorker.
A New Yorker.
Rosanna from New York.
Rosanna from New York. Rosanna from New York, you're on. Hi.
Hey, how are you guys? This is so great. I love this.
Say hello to Anderson.
Hey, Rosanna.
Hey, Anderson. Congratulations on your first live with your callers. I'm so psyched for you. Hey, listen. Have you guys ever heard of running for a cruise ship or running for a boat because you're about to miss it? I don't think you guys are into cruises. I am not. But I booked a boat to go around Manhattan and for a vacation for a bunch of kids, and I missed it.
Wait, are you talking like a private boat? Like you rented a private boat?
I don't remember. It was for a bunch of Project City kids, and it was going to be like their vacation summer day. And I can't remember. It was through the Manhattan Yacht Club. We were doing it for underprivileged kids, and I was running it. Anyway, pardon the pun, I was running to get there, and I missed the boat. Meanwhile, the 20 kids that I'm supposed to be,
supervising
with that day, supervising, are on the boat without me. So this is totally something. Kelly, I could totally see you doing this. You know what I did?
Yeah.
I looked around on the dock, and what did I do?
What?
I found some little guy on like a little tugboat.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm walking through the city right now. Sorry. I
was going to say, are you running for the boat right now?
This just happened 5 minutes ago, Anderson.
You seem
the reason rain where I'm in Boston for my son's graduation, and it's pouring rain.
Congratulations!
Thank you. Just the lightning just came down, so I'm getting off Newbury Street. But anyway, I'm looking around, and I'm saying, this guy is just by himself on a tugboat. He's doing nothing. So I paid him off. And
That's amazing. And did he brought you to the boat?
Yep, I got him to. We had to take the tugboat all the way around the tip of not Long Island.
Wow.
The tip of Manhattan, and go up the Hudson River from the East River. So we started in the East River because we had to catch this. I think it was like a circle line. We had to catch it.
Oh, you really missed that boat. Wow.
I totally did this. And so he's like, I don't know what you're going to do when we get there because the water line is so different. You know, we're down here like 20 feet below what the lifeline is of the boat. So I said, don't worry about that. I'll figure it out. I'm a sailor. I grew up on the water. And so we get to the boat, and he was right. That lifeline, the the edge of the boat. You know, for people who don't, you have a boat. What's it called? You know, the side of the boat where there's like a wire.
The gunnel?
I don't know. I don't know boats.
I don't know. The gunnel. We know what you mean. The side of the boat.
I hiked myself over it. I climbed up the side of the boat, almost like the hull, and these big guys were like hiking me up, and they couldn't get me over. And the only way to get me over.
I'm sure they could have if they really wanted to. They were just enjoying the process.
I'll tell you how. It was not pretty. The only way. Thank God I was wearing a pair of stretchy Taken and Capone's from back in the day. They grabbed me by the thong.
Yeah.
Is this a family? I'm sorry.
No, let me tell you something. No, it's not. And by the way, you should always wear a thong because they are the most durable undergarment. A thong can hold up. I'm telling you, you can. You could have tugged the boat with a thong.
I'm only 110 pounds, but they got me by the bottom, and they flipped me over the edge of the railing. That's the word I'm looking for, the railing. And
Rosanna, I thought you were looking for some nautical term.
Whatever. There's a boat term for it too, but
we're Googling nautical terms
on the deck. And I was just like, all the kids came running. They were just so happy to see me. And those kids will never forget that day.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah.
That was great. Not only was it an amazing trip, but they got to see you, their sponsor, and your their supervisor get picked up by the thong and tossed over the dock.
I
mean, yeah.
That's unforgettable.
My pants, obviously, but yeah, it was. This is why I don't travel. So,
I get it. Rosanna, enjoy the graduation and thanks for calling in.
Sure. Thanks. Oh, congratulations.
Talk to you later. Bye. We've got one more caller.
Yeah, we got Tammy in Florida.
Tammy, are you in Florida?
I am. I'm in Wesley Chapel, not far from Tampa, where your husband's from.
Oh my God! Did you used to date him?
No, I'm almost old enough to be your mother, but I actually.
That doesn't stop him. By the way, that wouldn't stop him for a second.
I actually met him in a parking garage before he got the job in New York.
Well,
now we're talking. Okay, let's get into it. I met him in a parking garage, and then what happened?
I don't know if that's the story I'm supposed to tell him, but I just want to say congratulations to you. I mean, you have me walking so many miles just listening to podcasts, and yours was the first I listened to.
Thank you so much. Are you talking to Anderson or to me?
To you, Kelly.
Because
I love
Anderson has
Anderson.
Well, thank you. We love ourselves. No, I mean we love each other. Anderson also has an amazing podcast.
Well, I'll check his out because I don't listen to the news anymore. It's too depressing. But I do watch you and Mark every morning. And I absolutely love your podcast and all the guests you have, and I listen to theirs. And I refuse to walk. I refuse to listen to a podcast unless I'm walking. So you have me walking a lot, and I appreciate it. Old, so it's great.
One day I want to get to Florida. We'll take a walk together. Do you have a vacation story for us?
I do. Okay, so I think it was last year in August when the whole cyber thing, when we were on a Delta flight, and remember everything shut down. If you weren't traveling, you may not know, but we spent a week in San Francisco. It was my daughter-in-law's 30th birthday, and we decided to take my nephew, took him to Yosemite. He's 10 years old, and we're ready to go back home. And we board the flight at like midnight, and all of a sudden they make us get off, and they said, something's happening. The internet's gone down and you have to get off the flight. And we're like, he's 10 and he wants to see his parents. So let's rebook the flight. But everything went down. The hotels, the ATMs, everything went down. And because we booked his flight after we booked ours, he was considered a unaccompanied minor. So we couldn't rebook a flight with him. So we ended up getting stuck there for 4 days. He was throwing up in the airport. He was having anxiety. Well, because there was nobody you could talk to. I mean, it wasn't their fault. That's
crazy.
It was one of those situations. They were so kind. They were so nice. But they said, your flight's never going to get booked because, hundreds of thousands of people are getting booked. And he's unaccompanied. So it's not going to happen. So we ended up
Did Anderson do an expose on it? On the news?
That's awful. That is awful.
reimbursing us. I mean, we ended up having fun. We ended up going back from Yosemite to San Francisco. We got to see my son again, and it ended up being a great time. But my nephew, he said, I'm not ready to travel yet, Aunt Tammy. I just need to wait.
A wise child. Tammy, thank you so much for calling. Hello?
Love your podcast.
Well,
she's breaking up.
You're breaking up, but thank you so much for calling in. And
Thanks, Sammy. The
Anderson,
internet went down again.
It did. It went down again. Be glad we weren't doing this yesterday when the Met Gala was here, because our internet crashed big time.
Did you go to the Met Gala?
No, I didn't go to the Met Gala. I got to listen to it all from the comfort of our bedroom. But thank you so much for being on our
my pleasure.
Inaugural live podcast.
Very excited.
You are the best. You are the
very excited.
best.
You got a future in radio, kid. I've heard a lot of radio shows in my day, and you got a future.
You have a future, darling. What are you doing tonight? Are you going on the news tonight?
I am. I mean, it's every night. It keeps going on. I keep expecting it to stop, but it doesn't stop.
I know. Well, I really want you and Andy to go back on the road, so you should think about that for some light.
All right.
Thanks again. And hey, listen, to our listeners, we'll talk to you all next week off camera. Bye-bye.
Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa is a production of Melojo Productions. From Melojo, our team is Kelly Ripa, Mark Consuelos, Albert Bianchini, Jan Chalet, Seth Gronquist, Roz Therian, Devin Schneider, Michael Halpern, Julia Desch, and Team Radio Andy, Lisa Mantaneo, Scott Marlowe, Jake Getz.